Okay, so welcome back to another Bitwig tutorial. In this one, we need to talk about the steps modulator. Now, we kind of already talked about this. I already made a video a while ago, like a year ago, but it received some updates and I kind of explained it along with some other modulators. So I'm just dedicating this whole section, the whole video to the update, to this the update of steps to this new version. And I'm going to give you some more examples. I'm just going to make it a bit more complete. So of course you get a lot of modulators, and I have a synth right now with a little bit of reverb. Let me just show you that first. And this is the example number one. It's just a simple chord. It's just a chord sustained for 4 bars. Pretty simple. So yeah, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna bring the steps. So we have a lot of options right here. So first of all, it's pretty long and we have a lot of options. So we're gonna start from the beginning. So right from the start, this what it does, we can modulate something and follow whatever instruction that we have right here. So if this is the instruction, go up and then go nothing and then go a little bit and then go really up, this is going to be the instruction that is going to happen to whatever we map it to. So for example, if I do something like this, notice that we can draw it with with pen, and this is by default. I'm going to select this. I'm going to map it to the cutoff of the synthesizer. So whenever we play it, the cutoff is going to follow whatever motion we write right here. If I do something a bit more radical, that is moving in the way we, instruct right here. Pretty simple. Now, this of course has a lot of options right here. You can go 64 steps. And it's, pretty long, because if you have, want to do something a bit more, complicated, or let's just say more detailed, you can do it. Or maybe the arrangement is really big, so you can do it. So I can do and draw something like this. And if I play it, notice that the clip is 4 bars long and it's doing different things throughout the 4 bars, because it's 64 steps. And then, starts over. All right. In this case, I'm going to go back to 16 steps. Now, you can make it shorter, like 2 steps if you wanted to. And you can, or maybe let me do something like 5 steps or 3 steps. Let me go to 8 steps, something normal. And do something, very simple like that. And that's just going to, again, it's going to do the trick. Because maybe you don't need 16 steps, you just need less. And because the motion is very simple. Okay, so I'm going to go to 16 in this case. I'm going to go back to 16. So now we know that we can draw whatever we want, and that is going to be how it's going to be moving. But in the case of this, notice that we start down and then we go up. So what happens if we want to do something different? Maybe I want to go up, but I also want to go down. Maybe I want to go the other way and not go from here, from the starting point and up. So, of course, you can do this. Notice that right here, you get the amount control. And this one decides how much from the starting point you go up. And I'm going to go and do something a bit more like this so you can really hear the difference. Now, as I move closer to center, this motion is, less and less and less noticeable. And when we get to 0%, we are not even moving. Now, this is bipolar. So if I go the other way, it's going to move it from the starting point on a negative fashion. Then again, just doing it on the opposite way. We go up or we go down. Pretty simple. And then, of course, we have all the in-betweens. Right, so again, just a simple. Now then you have all the options. Notice that this motion is a bit too harsh. Let me just put it like this, and maybe like this and like that. There we go. Notice it's like an on and off. Sounds like an on and off. And that's cool if that's what you want, but maybe you want a little bit more smoothness to the sound. So this is the smooth control. This is going to smooth the transition from going from one step to the other one. And notice that it's smoother. And if I, go and do it to the other ones, it sounds very smooth. If I go the other way, it's harsh. And if you go all the way, it's way too smooth. But if you like that sound, that's cool. Okay, so then you have other options. Of course, right now we are going to a very specific rate. Speed. 16 steps. And it's just, 1 bar for each round. So you can change this from this control. Notice that you can go 16 notes, you can go 30 seconds, it's going to go faster, or you can go slower, for example. Quarter note is going to be like super slow. And maybe if you go to a dotted, it's again, just different time. So you can even go in hertz. So if I go in hertz, it's gonna go there. It's super slow, but you can go really fast. Again, you do just manually, and you can do in kilohertz, which is gonna be super fast. Right. So this is the speed control. Now it depends, of course, on how fast you want to go. And depends on what you're doing, of course. What's the clip and what's the tempo and everything else. You need to change this and adjust it. Now, whenever you select a fixed tempo, it's just going to go in 16 notes, all right? It's just going to go there. And now the control, instead of, becoming a kind of a hertz or kilohertz kind of control, you can offset it. Now, this is still, going on the 16 notes, but we are offsetting it. So, of course, now it's much lower. And whenever you double click, it's just going back to 16. But you start from 16 and then you just offset it to a different timing. Now, of course, you get this control, which is the phase modulation. I'm going to go and move it. And notice it's stopped, but it's just kind of a moving, behind the scenes. If I start playing, let me just put it right there. And you see what is going on? And I'm doing this on purpose so maybe you can realize what's going on. So whenever we start, notice that the clip starts right here, right? And I start playing. So the playback will always start from the beginning. The motion will start here and then go up until it finishes and then goes back in this case. So the phase is going to alter that. I'm going to say that I don't want to start from the beginning. I want to start from here. So I'm going to do play again, and it starts from here. It's going to do the full loop, and then, just going to go back. But now it's starting from a different place. So this works like an LFO where you change the phase and the LFO starts from a different place. So this is the exact same thing. So we are just offsetting the place where it's just, is starting. And it all starts right here. And again, this is just an option. Depends on what you want to do. You can go random on this mofo and just try different things. Maybe you find something that you like, or if you don't like it, you can kaboom and clear everything. All right. So in this case, I'm going to go random to have something available. Notice that it starts right here, goes all the way up, it ends, and then restarts again. So this is the motion, how it's moving. Maybe what I want to do, I want to do this one round, and then I don't want to loop it back. So you just disable the loop, and it's going to go one round, and it's going to die right there. Now, it's important to know that it will stop on the last step. So the last step is going to be the position, the final position. Another thing that you can do, if you're looping in this case, you can go both ways. It's going to start here, and then go back. And, it's that motion. Starting, then bouncing. It's like a bouncing, kind of movement. It starts here, bounce back, and then goes back. So this is the ping pong. And, the name makes sense. So what if you don't want to go forward? Because right now it's starting here, and it's going up and then down. But maybe what you want to do is do the opposite. You want to start up, go down, and then go up. So you click this one is disabled, and it's going to do that. You can, for this one, disable that, and it's just going to start from the end, and then, go kind of backwards. And again, depends on what you want to do. So we covered pretty much everything. There's one option that we have available, which is very useful. You have the polarity. You're gonna make it bipolar, and when you click it, you're gonna get something like this. So of course, when you're talking about polarity, you get negative and you get positive. So right now, for example, we have the cutoff right there. And the only thing we are doing is from the starting point going up. And let me just do it like that. Okay. We start right here and then we go up. We know that. We know we can change it. We can go down, but by moving this one and we go the other way. But maybe now what I want to do, I want to go both ways. I want to go up and I want to go down on the same kind of a motion. So this is the bipolar. Whenever you go up, it's going to move from the starting point up. And whenever you go down, it's going to move from the starting point and down. If I do something like this, something, kind of obvious. So let me just do it first. Can you see it? I'm going to go slower so we can really see what's going on. All right. So let me just remove this one and I'm going to go there. So yeah, so now it's going up when it's up and it's going down when it's down. Of course, it's pretty aggressive. So maybe, this is because, of course, we are doing this all the way up and all the way down. But maybe on the cutoff, this is not so useful. It doesn't sound that well. Of course, you can provide a lesser effect. Just go, do a nice movement like that. Or this can be very useful to do a little bit of, movement from left and right. Because, it's just that. It's just kind of a panning from left and right. Right? So, of course, at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want. You're going to get different types of movements. And then you just edit them the way you want it to sound. All right, so that's it. That are pretty much all the controls for this one. The next thing is going to be this one, the trigger mode. And this is very important, just very important, because this is how this is going to move all around your, whatever it is that you're doing. Now, I'm going to go back to the non-positive, not the I'm going to change the polarity just to positive. And I'm going to do some random, something like that. And they're going to go there so we can really see what's going on right here. And the transport, it's different ways we get to start this motion. Let me go back. I was going to do the example number 2, but I'm going to keep it here for now. So the transport, it means that it will listen to the play and the stop to, start moving the steps, to start the steps. So if I stop, it's going to stop right there. And if I do play, always will start from the beginning unless you offset. Just like we discussed earlier. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Gonna stop it, it dies, and it plays and starts over. So then we have the with groove, and I did some changes right here so we can really hear what's going on, with the groove. So this one works the same way than transport. Whenever we play it, it's going to start from the beginning, and it will listen to the transport. And this one works with the groove. So for now, I'm just going to disable. I'm going to pin it so we can, enable and disable it. I'm going to play it. And this is how it sounds, right? Very straightforward. We know this. Now I'm going to enable the shuffle and the groove. And the shuffle is all the way in. And we are on 116. Notice it changes a little bit. And of course, this is because now this transport, it's listening to the transport, but it's also listening to the shuffle. So if you, use the shuffle and, you know how to use the groove, this is pretty much listening to that. Pretty simple. So then you have the free running. So as soon as I select free running, it means that it will start from the starting point and then it will go and go and go. It doesn't care about what we are playing. If you're stopping, if you're playing, it doesn't care about anything. It's just going to start and keep moving forward. The thing is that whenever we use this, if I play it and the playback is in this position on the notes, on the steps, it's going to start from here. It doesn't care, where you're going to start it because this is free running. It doesn't care about the transport. When I stop it, it's still going to be moving. It's moving the whole time. And if I play it, it's just going to start the motion, whatever, whatever it is. That's the free running. Right, simple. Then we have the node restart. So this means that it's going to play to whatever rate that you're, specifying right here, but is a little bit different. It's going to restart it, and I'm going to go to the example number 2. So notice that we have one node, then another node, we have some space, then some bigger space, and then we have the same thing, right? Pretty simple. I'm going to play it. Big space, and then we get that. So what is happening is that every time that we play a new note, or we just introduce a new note, whatever note, and we are not holding, it's going to start from the beginning. It will always restart from the beginning. So this is very similar to the transport, but instead of listening to the stop and the play, is listening to new incoming MIDI notes. So if I play, it starts there, and then it starts from the beginning, right? It's just never ending the loop. And it's just going back because we introduce a new node before the loop ends. That's what the node restart is. So then we have the node random. I'm going to kind of stop it. Then we have the node random. Now, the node random is the same thing than the node restart, but it will just, start in a random position. The node restart, it will always restart from the beginning, but the random doesn't give a S about anything. It's just going to start where it wants. Notice it's just not starting from the beginning. It's just starting from, whatever other place. That's the node random. Pretty simple to understand. So then we have the node advance. So it's this one. So if I keep the same example, it's just going to sound weird. So I'm going to say node advance, and notice that each node is going to advance it to the next step. So this example is not a good example because we don't have a lot of notes. The notes are kind of being sustained, but you can really use this whenever you have something faster, or maybe you want to kind of provide a slower introduction on the track. This is going to be useful, but in this case, not very useful for us. So this one is going to be just an ARP. And notice that we are doing 16. Actually, yeah, we're doing 16. Actually, we're doing a lot more, a little bit less. But that's fine. It's just going to do the trick. So I'm going to go and play it. And notice that every time we play a new note, it's going to continue with the playback. And if it stops, like I'm stopping right here, it's just going to stop right there and then continue where we left off. So that's the node advance. Every time we play a note, it's going to advance to the next step. Right? So pretty simple. So this is, the whole thing. This is how it works and how you can use it. You know all the controls and everything that it does. All right, so let me give you a more musical example. So you can use the steps just to do pretty much whatever you want. Not whatever you want, but you can do a million things, all right? So I'm going to show you this example. This is my example. It's just some chords. This is the synth. We have some voices. We are doing a delay. And at the end, we have a tool. Now, of course, you cannot deny that it sounds very dull. Let's make it better. Let's just bring some steps. I'm going to go and bring some steps. So I'm going to do steps, and I don't even know what I'm going to do. Maybe I want some kind of a motion, something like that goes up like this and then goes down. Maybe something like that would be cool. Maybe something like that. Now what I want to do, I want to move something. So let's say I want to move the cutoff. So the sound will kind of evolve. And it already sounds much interesting. All right, let's bring another one. I'm gonna bring the steps, and I don't even know what I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna go and do random. Why not? So it's all about movement. Sometimes it's about adding something else, some movement that it's not very predictable. So right now we have oscillator number 1, oscillator number 2. You know what? I'm gonna bring this. I'm gonna do something like this. And notice it gives us this movement. I can even make it better. Let me just bring another steps. And what I want is kind of a rhythm, some pattern. I don't want something random like this. I want a real pattern, something that we can hear and identify pretty easily. So I'm gonna do something like this. Maybe you're watching this and you're doing what? You're saying, what are you doing? Okay, so I want maybe something like this. Maybe I'm gonna change it. Depends on how it sounds. So I want some pattern. Sounds very cool, right? We can even do it with a sub. So what I'm doing, just creating a pattern that we can maybe change. I'm going to do it here. And maybe here. And again, we're just adding a little bit more. Do you remember how this sounded before doing all of this nonsense? It was super dull. Alright, so let's do a couple more. I'm gonna bring some steps. And in this case, I want this kind of a motion. I want a ramp. I'm just gonna try to do the best I can. And I just want a ramp. Now we are using it on some delay. So maybe what we want, we're going to start right here low on the delay. But as you know, we move forward. We can change, of course, the timing right here. We can go up, right? And we're just going to... Again, it's just about getting a different sound. So every time, we're going, we are just bringing the repetitions closer. Let's do what, the other one that we did before. Let's bring it steps. In this case, I'm going to do that bipolar. I'm going to just do the same thing we did previously. I'm going to go up. I'm going to go up on this one, down on this one, up on this one. Remember we did this already? I want to do something like that. Because I think this needs it. Kind of fucked it up right there, but it's fine. So since we have a tool, I can do something like that. Now, of course, it's just too aggressive, so we can use the smooth control. Now, again, still too aggressive, so we're gonna do a little bit less. Now we are getting a little bit of movement on the stereo field, right? So you can even use this to control or create different waveforms. So for example, let me just bring an LFO, right? Just an LFO. Why not? So on this one, I'm gonna kind of move the shape, right? And I'm gonna do a little bit of noise. Maybe let me just bring the other LFO, not this one. I'm gonna do the classic LFO, right? Okay. So this is classic LFO. We are not doing anything specific. I'm just gonna, just maybe do a little bit of noise and a little bit of shape, just to change it a little bit. But notice it sounds kind of a bit weird, and I'm just gonna do 1/8. So remember that all of this are instructions, so I can go right here and say that I want this to move with this instruction, with whatever we are doing right here. And now the waveform, or the instruction, maybe if we do something like that, it's gonna change, and notice how different it is. So I told you, you can use the steps to control all the things like all the modulators and get very, very specific or very, interesting kind of things. So remember how it sounded without all of this? So this is how it sounded before all of this. And we ended up with this. Now, at the end of the day, it depends on what you want to do and depends on your production and what you're doing. Maybe you don't need all this movement, and you don't need this kind of a sound. Maybe you need the dull one. But you can use them just to do a little bit of experimentation and movement. I use them for that, just to create movement on a synthesizer or something else. All right, so that's it. So hopefully now you know what the step does, how you can use it, and all the different creative ways of using it. And hopefully, this was helpful to you. You learned something new. Remember, of course, to like and subscribe and to check Patreon just to keep the lights on this channel. All right. So see you on the next one.